What's going on, guys? Gomes here back again on another MLB The Show 19 Diamond Dynasty video. Once again, a quick shout out to you guys. We just did hit 8,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support. I've really been enjoying MLB The Show 19 so far, and it's only been not even quite 3 weeks, I think, but we're growing like crazy. Thank you guys all so much for the overwhelming support. I truly do appreciate every single one of you. But of course, getting on to this video, this is a much requested follow-up to my previous How to Make Stub video that I came with about, I think I came out with it like 2 days after the game released. But, you know, that method isn't working out the best for the sole fact that, you know, the video did really well, and this was a thing that a lot of times would be said with my How to Make Stub guides last year is, you know, it would, you know, make the method obsolete when I posted them. And I really did not think so because, for example, my bronze hat method, if you guys did see that video, that worked pretty much throughout the entirety of the year, and people would say it's dead. It was never dead. However, with this one, this video did so well in particular, and so many people jumped on it that, you know, my exchange method, it didn't work as well. Basically, we were exchanging bronze players into silver player packs, and I was getting them for about 65 stubs. Now they're going for about 100, and silver prices are down in general as well, so you definitely can still make stubs on that. You know, it's just a lot harder to do so. So I wanted to make a follow-up to this video, and unfortunately, it's not going to be with exchanges, which, like I said, I didn't want to, you know, just say like flip cards. But honestly, that's the best way to make stubs in MLB The Show 19, and I did want to make a follow-up video so you guys are aware of that and just tell you how I have been making stubs recently. I haven't been able to use my former exchange bronzes into silver players for the simple fact that, yeah, I can still make profit, but it's not guaranteed. And, you know, now that there's so many people fighting for those cards, even at like 100 stubs, it's just almost impossible, and it kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing it fast and making a lot of stubs. So we are going to be talking about flipping cards, but before we get into that, I just quickly want to say the first roster update has been confirmed to be April 19th, so you guys are aware of that. And then my first roster predictions video will be coming out on Tuesday. I will always upload those at 2:30 Eastern time on Tuesdays. Roster update comes out on Friday, so, you know, have the best chance to be able to make a lot of stubs. Be around for that roster prediction video. But yeah, getting into pretty much the filter that I have been using, we're going to look at gold cards, specifically legends and flashback cards, and we're going to look for gaps. So the one important thing to know off the jump is that every single card has a 10% tax every market transaction. So whenever you sell a card, 10% of that goes, you know, within the servers, I guess, or to SDS, or you just don't get it. So if we were to look at Roberto Alomar right here, he's going for 2,000 stubs, 880. So 10% of that, you always just look at the first two numbers, 2,800 to 280 stubs, 1690, 160 stubs approximately. So, you know, you can really figure out the gaps, because that's the key thing into flipping cards is, you know, buying low and selling high. And of course, to do that, you would have to put in a buy order. So Roberto Alomar right here, he has a really good gap. There is a very good price differential. So we're going to put a buy order in there for 1980. And you can see even if we take off about 300 stubs, which would be 2,500, we're still going to make about 500 stubs off of flipping Roberto Alomar. Personally, I have found flashbacks and legends to be good because, one, they do sell quite quick, two, they have pretty good gaps, and three, it's just easier to understand because, once again, with the roster update things, live series cards, if you don't sell them, there's always a chance it could go up or down. Especially down is the big thing you have to worry about. If their overall goes down, their price is going to go down retroactively, so that is something you have to worry about. So legends and flashbacks are the two filters that I would recommend the most. Usually what I've been going for is for gold cards, of course. If you don't have at least like Irvin Santana right here, that's a pretty good price differential, so put in for 2005. If gold cards don't have at least about 300, a 300 gap, especially if they're about 2,000 stubs, because, you know, as cards get more expensive, that's going to be more tax taken out, so that's more that you have to take into account. So you always want to make sure at least like a 300 stub gap in order to it really be worth your time. Like, I could definitely sit here and flip, what's a great example of this? I guess, you know, all the flashbacks have decent, they have decent gaps, but right here we do get somebody to sell Irvin Santana, and like I said, they do sell pretty fast. Of course, this is 2:15 on Saturday when I am recording this, so it's not the best time. I will talk about the best times to do flipping when, you know, the most people are going to be on and when I found the most success. But right there, as you guys can see with Irvin Santana, once we sell him, we're going to make about 250 stubs after tax, which if you really think about it, it's not as fast as we were making stubs last year, but you have to take into account that stubs in general, there's just not as many stubs this year. If you guys look at Mike Trout's price, he's going for 170K 3 weeks after launch. If we were to look at 3 weeks after launch price of Mike Trout last year, it's well over 400,000. So that's just the way stubs are this year. They are it's not so inflated. There's not as many stubs in circulation, and I think we all still have to get used to that. So that means it also will take more time to technically make a lot of stubs, or at least for it to look like a lot of stubs. But you know, even 10K, that can get you a lot of diamonds. Go for 10K, and that of course can help you complete collections, which can get your XP level up so you can get those great rewards. But once again, you just want to keep looking for those gaps, and it does help if you do already have a good amount of stubs built up, because if you only have like 5K to work with, you can only maybe put a buy order in for like 2 or 3 cards. So it does help if you have a prior stub bank. Obviously I have a good amount to work with, and you know, that's what you really want to do. You want to have, you know, build this up, and it will be slower at first because you have to wait for those you know, those first cards to go through. But right now I could, you know, pretty much just every card that I see that has a good gap, I can just do that. So right here we get Roberto Alomar to sell. I actually did get one of him before I started recording this video because I messed up when I was recording the video. So I'm gonna sell those. As you guys can see, I got him for 1955. So that's a really good gap on Roberto Alomar. And another good thing about the flashback market is it doesn't seem like there's as many people that are really trying to flip them. I have personally tried to do the whole live series gold cards, which definitely can work, and I have found some success, but especially if you see guys like Trevor Bauer, or Corey Seager, it's ridiculous to try to flip them, just because there's so many other people competing, probably because other YouTubers have made videos talking about flipping live series gold cards is the best way. At least that would be my assumption, or people have just found that's the best thing that works for them. But I definitely noticed that market is much more competitive than the flashbacks. This one is a lot more laid back, and you know, there's bigger gaps, and you know, there's less people trying to outbid you by 1 stub every second. So that is definitely something nice to see. And ironically enough, somebody actually did outbid me by 5 stubs. But you know, like I said, once again, this is not the best time. This is not the prime time that I really think about flipping cards. Personally, the times I have had the most success is probably any nighttime around, you know, 7 to 8 o'clock. Usually it kind of starts to die off around 11 o'clock, at least Central Time. So that would be midnight Eastern, and then 9 o'clock Pacific time. So it really depends on everything. Like, you are going to have a lot of trouble, especially now that school is still in session, if you try to flip cards over the day, just because, you know, a lot of people who play this game are kids that are in school, or they're adults who are at work. So there's just not a lot of people on the game, so it will take a long time for those orders to fill. So in order to, you know, make the time you spend flipping cards the most efficient and effective, I would recommend do it during the nighttime. Do it during times that you would expect the game would be most populated. A good way to measure that is see your friends list. I'm sure you guys probably have a lot of people who play MLB The Show on your friends list. See how many of them are online. I currently have 13 friends playing MLB The Show 19. You know, kind of have that be the judgment. So if you don't see a lot of your friends playing right now, maybe it means there's not going to be a lot of people on the game, so it's going to take you a while, because you can flip cards whenever, but you know, if you really, because there is times where I've just been literally sitting here and waiting for things to fill through, but in those hot times, you know, they do go ahead and sell pretty fast. You will have to deal with a lot of this, people outbidding you by a couple stubs. do the same thing right back to them. In hot times, cards will sell pretty quickly, so you do have to make sure to do that. I guess bronze cards could still be worth it. Obviously, the price differential isn't going to be as high, but that also means less tax is going to be taken out. One thing I do want to talk about quickly before I end this video is these diamonds. These special edition diamonds, they are a decent way to, you know, make stubs, to flip them, because the gaps are pretty good. If you look at Robin Yount right there, that is, shoot, what is that, about 3,500 right there? But the problem with that, they do not sell as quickly as golds, and then that can always have the problem where I'll have cards like, imagine if I bought this card for 1,600 right now, I try to sell him, he doesn't sell, I leave the game for a while, and now his price is down to like 17k, so factor in after taxes, you're going to get hit with the loss. That's my last key point that I do have to make to you guys is I would recommend, once again, golds. You can do it with those diamonds. Probably not live series diamonds. Usually the gaps are not big enough for those, but flashback diamonds, especially the special edition ones, once again, factor in the tax and see how much you would make after the taxes. But yeah, that is another important thing. I would always recommend do not hold on to the cards just because the price can fluctuate so much. I did try to do a little live series last night with Carrasco and Osuna, and I'm still sitting on them because I waited overnight and now the prices have dropped. So you know, maybe I can break even, but it is always important to sell them as soon as you get them. And once again, that is the good thing about once you have been doing this for a while and you built up a stub accumulation, you can keep going and flipping and, you know, have 10, 20, you can go up to 50 buy and sell now orders. So you can really, if you have a lot of stubs, you can manage the whole market. You know, as soon as somebody outbids you, take that bid down, put it on somebody else, or put in a new bid. That is pretty much the way I have been making stubs this year. I try to grind that every single night and, you know, just keep making stubs from there. Once again, unfortunately, there is just not as good of a way through exchanges to make stubs this year, at least right now. Possibly we could see one later. If you still want to try it, you can. It's just that the profit isn't guaranteed anymore, which with flipping cards, it is pretty much guaranteed unless you sit on them, like I said, and then wait to sell them once their price drops. Then you could potentially get hit with a loss. But with exchanges, just right now, I'm not personally feeling them. So flipping cards this way, gold and gold, flashbacks and legends is what I would recommend to make stubs. If you guys have any more questions, make sure to let me know down below in the comment section. I'll gladly go ahead and help you down there. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like down below. Hope you guys have a great day. And there, guys, comes out. Yeet.